Okay, quick science review. I know it's early, but it's important. The sun is out right now, amen? Amen, that's great. So you have the sun, and then you have Mercury, and then you have Venus, and then you have Earth and Mars, all the way out to Pluto. And yes, I count Pluto. I don't know how you just take away someone's planethood. It's not fair, right? So, but if I said to you, the sun is hot, we agree. And then if I said to you that Mercury is hot, and then as you work your way out, they get cooler. Is that true? Yeah, okay. So if I told you that Mercury is at about 800 degrees, it's its average surface temperature, Mercury, and that Mars' average surface temperature is, and this is Fahrenheit, negative 20, Earth's average temperature about 61 degrees, right? You'd say, okay, so that it's true, that there becomes your truth, right? That the closer you are to the sun, the hotter your planet is. You with me? Wrong, right? Because the hottest planet is Venus. Yeah, its surface temperature average is 880. It's hotter than Mercury. How is that possible? Well, because of its dense atmosphere. I'm not a scientist. I just looked this up on Google. I'm not going to pretend that I knew that. But what I was looking for was an example of getting the right answer for the wrong reason. And so that's what I was kind of investigating, because it happens in math. I think the last time we had this reading 3 years ago, I used a math example and I just was teaching this past week to a group of sophomores, and I said, you ever get the right answer for a wrong reason in math class? Oh boy, yeah, right. And there's nothing worse than getting the right answer for the wrong reason, because it gets you in a lot of trouble, right? You're sort of falsely confident. And that's Peter here. He got the right answer. You're the Christ. And in Matthew's version of this story, that's where Jesus gives him the title, Rock. You are the rock. On you I'm going to build the church. Right? This story's in Matthew and Mark and Luke, a variation of it. He's asking the question, they give an answer. Peter nails it. He's got the right answer. But then he immediately follows it up with proving for the wrong reason. He completely doesn't get it in the most dangerous of ways. Because what he wants to have happen is what a lot of people want out of the Messiah. They want the Messiah to be a political leader, a violent military leader. And Jesus has known this all along. That's why, from the get-go, how often in Mark, when he works miracles, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Even here, you're the Christ. That's right, don't tell anyone. It's a very bad marketing plan, don't you agree? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Except to say, you all have the wrong idea of what the Messiah is. And so just in case you really missed it, he lays it out. Suffer greatly, handed over, beaten, killed, rise on the third day. And the teacher's pet in the class question rebukes him. It's as strong as it gets, rebukes him. And so in 4 verses, Peter goes from being the rock to Satan. You can imagine after Jesus resurrected and this church has started to gain some traction, people are like, oh, you're Peter. What did Jesus call you? The rock. And James would have been like, and also Satan. You had a few nicknames with Jesus, Peter. Don't kid yourself. But isn't that how it is for all of us? On some level we get it, and on a whole nother level we don't. We just don't want to. It's asking too much of us. That's it. It's a push-pull for all of us. Some days rock, some days Satan. It's really strong language in both cases. So we find ourselves acknowledging what Jesus did. He'd been working miracles. I made this point last week. No more miracles from here on, really, in Mark's account. But I think there's 4 more. He moves away from that ministry because it's so temporary. And it keeps taking people in the wrong direction. They see Jesus as the aspirin for what ails them. And he knows they're just temporary things, and they're really just signs that point you to something greater. Miracles are signs, right? They point you to something greater. One of the old Eastern wisdom statements is, the wise man points to the moon, and the idiot stares at his finger. You're a little slow on that one, but that's okay, it's early. How much truth, though? Sometimes with a dog, there, go get there's a treat on the floor there, and they come to your finger, right? You're like, no, there, go get it. And that's us. Jesus is pointing the way. And so again, just in case you missed it, right? So here's this weird event. Who do they say I am? You're somebody important. No, you're the guy. You got it. and I'm going to do this. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Devil, get away from me. And then what's he do? He brings everybody together. Let's have a teaching moment right now. Everyone, come here. Unless you take up your cross, unless you deny yourself, you're not really a follower of mine. And then he lays down what I've said to you before is, to me, my favorite piece of the gospel. And it shows up, I think, 4 times. It's the great paradox. If you want to save your life, you've already lost. That's just the truth. If your goal is to save your own hide, Jesus has already said it, and he says it 4 different times in each gospel, at least once in every gospel. You cannot pretend that, Luke just wrote this in here or Mark added it in somewhere. He absolutely said this. If you're trying to save your life, you've already lost, and I can't help you. Son of God cannot help you if your goal is to save your hide. This shows up also with the rich young man, right? What must I do to attain eternal life? Oh, this is just about you? Wow, I think you're missing the message here. If you'll give up your life for my sake, nobody can take it from you. That's the other half of the paradox. And so no matter what the struggle is, for us, the internal struggle to do good, the communal struggle to love each other, the international struggle to see ourselves as connected in that way, regardless of what separates us, this is the real work of Christianity, and we can pretend that it's in the head, that it's intellectual, that it's creedal. But as James just said, if it's just about your faith, what you believe, good luck with that. Good luck with that. I want to see the connection of faith to works. And of course, there's some Christians that would prefer James wasn't in the scriptures, right? Because it forces a whole different operational theology. But even if you erased the whole letter of James, you've still got Jesus in the final judgment, judging people not on what they think, not on what they believe, but on how they saw his presence in others. And in particularly people that the world generally defines as outside the circle. Losers, sick, dirty, icky people. This is a really challenging message. And we're not going to do it alone. That's why he had to bring them all together in that moment. You've got the right answer for the wrong reason. And if you don't get this right, it's going to be destructive to you and to others. Because that's where people start picking winners and losers. And this guy on the cross doesn't do that. He doesn't from the cross say, Father, forgive those that I like. They know not what they're doing. Father, forgive those that wear the same wristlet as I do. Father, forgive, insert stupid distinction, mythic membership. That's not what he says. And it's not what he did. In this moment, he pivots away from that. Away from the sign. And he pivots towards saying, I'm in solidarity with your rejection, with your anguish. When it comes right down to it, the great equalizer, your death. God is with us. God is with us. That's a great comfort and consolation to me, and at the same time, a great challenge and a little scary. He's with me, but what he wants me to do is to surrender just as he did. And that has consequences in my everyday life. And it requires me to lay down my need to feel right, to lay down my need to control every situation, my need to feel like everything that I do is important. Not to say that the things we do are unimportant, but to say that the Son of God let himself be killed, and in that moment saved us from ourselves. And in this Eucharist, he offers us that very presence to say, what I'm asking of you, I know you really couldn't do on your own. But I'm not asking you to do it on your own. I'm asking you to do it with me, and with me in you. There isn't any other way. But it is true. As I often say, true just keeps showing up. It doesn't need us to believe in it to be true. It just is. And so as we prepare ourselves to receive this Eucharist, aware of all that is contentious and nasty and missing in our world, in our own families, in our own heart, we surrender ourselves as he asked them to this day. So it's a very powerful and kind of almost funny story in a weird way. You got it right, Peter. Wow, you got it so wrong. Just in 4 verses. And how many of us have been there? We know. And sometimes we've even lived it right. But then there's just a particular version of it where we're like, nope, Nope, my way. We're doing this my way. So let us just kind of let go of that need to control, to own it, and say that the Son of God taught me something different in that moment. Peter didn't get it right away. The apostles didn't get it right away. And many of his disciples didn't get it. But the more they participated in it, the more they saw the life-givingness of it. Because if they hadn't done it, you and I wouldn't even be here today. We might still be dancing around stones in a circle at the moon. But we're here testifying to this truth because they got it, because they laid down their own lives, because they bought the deepest truth that was, it isn't about saving my life, is it? It's about how we are connected one to another in this Eucharist, in the sacrifice of Christ. So all that ills our world, all that is dirty and awful and broken and destructive, the remedy to that, the aspirin to that, is not, it's our surrender. It's not magic. It's in each and every one of us offering our personal surrender, laying it at the altar of sacrifice and letting ourselves be changed by this Eucharist. This is the medicine that we need to be made whole in our own heart, in our own parish, in our own city, in our own state. It's just concentric circles. It's like throwing a huge rock on the pond. That's the power of God. Conquer sin and death and will fill our heart and fill our world. May God be praised.